Entitled aunt tried to barge into my room while I was changing my clothes and got her head banged against the door. My crazy entitled aunt, whom you all know so well by now, had an annoying habit, one of her many annoying habits, to just storm in when I was changing my clothes. The door would be closed, and if it wasn't locked she would just let herself in. My protests that I may be in a state of undress fell on deaf ears. As did any insistence that she knock before entrance, like a civilized human being. The following incidents happened when I was either 18 or 19. Aunt and her husband were over for a visit. I was in my room, changing my clothes. My bedroom door had a small defect, it wouldn't lock properly. So anytime it was closed, my dad, stepmom and stepbrother would either knock or ask if they could come in. Not entitled aunt, of course. She considered herself above such frivolous courtesies. She could come into rooms as and we she saw fit, and mere mortals would just have to live with it. Unfortunately for her, this mere mortal had had enough of her privacy being invaded. My top was off when I heard the door begin to creak open. I yelled, "I'm changing. Wait outside." As expected, Aunt didn't listen and was about to stick her head in when I swiftly reached the door, pulled it back a little and slammed it hard into Aunt's thick skull. Not enough to crack her skull, but enough to hurt. Aunt let out a howl that instantly brought a smile to my face. She went downstairs whining. I followed. She yelled at my dad about what I had done. My dad and uncle, Aunt's husband, were drinking at the time and were uncharacteristically chilled. Dad just looked at her, then looked at me and said something like, "Yeah. Don't do that." My uncle just burst out laughing, as if his wife getting her head banged was the funniest thing he had ever heard. Such dismissal of her grievances was too much to bear for my aunt. She demanded that they leave immediately. Uncle told her he was in no condition to drive. Besides, he and my dad were going to watch a cricket match, so leaving was out of the question. Aunt dialed my cousin's number, believing wholeheartedly that her son would come to her aid. But judging from her end of the conversation, cousin was out with his friends and wasn't going to drive all the way over to deal with her stupid ass, and why couldn't she just stop getting into unnecessary squabbles? Aunt had no options left. She just sat down on the couch while holding against her head the ice pack my stepmom had brought for her. Her anger was boiling over but was completely ignored by my happy dad and uncle. It was a lovely evening. Like and subscribe for more.